in. How is it going, everyone? Welcome to more Burnout Legends. And today, well, I think it was the... what was the second category called? It wasn't coupe, right? It was muscle, yeah. That's the one we're gonna be doing today. So, muscle, which is the second category. Well, it had a very hard event. It was a road race event, this one, but we could leave this one for later. For another road race, I guess. I guess we cannot escape the race. What's the car that I use here? This one, right? This one I used it in another road race and it went well. It will go well here too. Well, you know that these days I'm very obsessed with my microphone, so today I tried many different filters on my microphone to see if they do a better job. I don't know if they will or not. I hope they do, but it's basically a matter of trial and error. At the same time, it might be possible that I just need to change my microphone, but there are a lot of things that you can do with filters, but it's not like filters are gonna make miracles, you know? If you want miracles, you will have to... well, rather than waiting for a miracle, swap the microphone. And I do have another one to test, but I really don't want to do that. Mostly because imagine I do that and the things that I consider a problem still are a problem. That will be the issue. Basically swapping for absolutely no reason. But hopefully it works well today. I mean, work well, yes, it will work well, as in, you will hear what I say, I wanna believe at least, but I want it to sound good. But at the same time, you know that there are some microphones that are like professional for a reason. I could try getting one of those, but really want to spend that much on a microphone. I mean, I think that anything that is a peripheral, I'm not very interested in spending a great amount of money on. Oof, that was very close. Have that guy? Still have enough time remaining, but I might be close to critical damage right now. That's bad. The gold medal is 14 takedowns, by the way, so there are 4 more remaining, but I am concerned about the damage. So I think that at any time it's gonna start saying damage critical, and that will be terrible. Get on. I like when I hit them so hard that they clip through the wall or through the floor. It's pretty funny. So silver is 2 takedowns lower than gold here. Oh, that actually worked nice. Only one more. It's the same guy spawning over and over again just to get fucked by me, but it didn't work that time. Alright. I need one of you to spawn again. There you go. I think that's the Tatsi guy, no? Fuck. Oh, come on, 10 seconds on the clock. Nice. There you go. Gold medal. Nice. Oh, I thought that was the right path. Well, it doesn't matter since I already got the gold. That's nice. It seems that this car does very well when it comes to... well, to doing road race. It seems nice. The other ones could do well too, but with the lack of stats, it's just hard to tell what will do well and what will not do well. Unfortunately here, the only thing remaining, well, aside from the Grand Prix, is this road race. Damn it. This one was hard. This was not easy. The problem is that I didn't even get close to 14 takedowns here. And I don't think the issue, as I mentioned yesterday, it's the car. The problem here is simply the track being so hard. Like, this track is the one that has so many columns in the middle of the road. So the columns being there are already a problem, but on top of that, you also have to deal with the traffic, as always. Speaking of which, so yeah, that's my issue. Ouch. Oh, get on. Didn't even do anything, you crushed me. Was your fault and yours alone. I didn't do shit. Maybe it's just that these opponents are harder to take down than the other ones. Kinda doubt that that's the case. I think I already had that one. Yeah, and that's also another thing that is very common in this track. Like, you're gonna attempt to take someone down, you do, but the moment you respawn, you immediately die, as you can see. That's because this track is the way it is. This is the reason why I feel like it's such a high objective for such a hard track. Worst part is that I cannot even take these guys down quickly. How many pillar drillers am I gonna get? Well, there are pillars everywhere, and precisely it's the reason why the track is so hard. So I don't know how that guy got taken down though. Fuck. Damn it. Didn't see anywhere to move, and damage critical already. So it is most likely not gonna work out, but not like I can do anything else. But I could restart, but there is still hope that I win here. Just that I need to somehow avoid crashing while at the same time taking down 5 cars. Dude, that's a lot. And they refuse to get taken down too. At least I got the silver, I guess. It will be worse. Okay. So no. At what point my damage is so big that even a small hit is enough to make me crash. Only 20 seconds on the clock, so I gotta be fast even though it's probably gonna make me crash. Oof, that was close though. 10 seconds on the clock. Oh, that was such a... I need someone to respawn. There you go. Ooh, that was so extremely close. Holy shit. Nice. Team, that was sick. That was very sick. Can't believe what I just saw. Was pretty cool. Right on the very last moment. It's kind of like when you're in a race and you reach the end alongside someone else right on the finish line. Oh, by the way, someone answered me about this place, Sunrise Valley downtown. It's supposed to be around the middle of like the east coast of the USA. So the states there that I didn't know, I check, and you have Virginia and North Carolina. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know if you pronounce it Carolina or Carolina, whatever. But yeah, those states are there. And actually, New Hampshire was more to the northeast than I thought. Like, I thought North Hampshire, what am I saying? New Hampshire was around the middle, but it turns out that it isn't. It's actually even more to the northeast than New York. So yeah, my bad. My USA geography knowledge could be better. Oh, and I also was wrong about some other countries. Yeah, I know that guy is there. What the hell was that? Nice camera. I need to reach this guy though. This is already a minute past and I barely did any damage, so unless I can take him down, I don't think I can crush him enough to take his health out. Essentially, I don't know if you remember that. What the hell? That's interesting. I cannot do anything, by the way. The camera is locked here. Pretty funny. Like, essentially the game cannot fathom the target being behind you. If it's behind you, it will even not let you do shit rather than anything else. Wait, didn't it say a minute and a half, the gold medal? I think it actually said a minute and a half instead of 2 minutes. Yes, it did. Fuck. Damn, a minute and a half, really? Yeah, I thought I read that, but I should, since I think all of the other ones were 2 minutes. But no. Alright, well, in that case, gotta do it faster. Somehow. What did it say? Extreme boost what? I don't think I did anything extreme there. Seems at the start of the track it's not very easy to hit this guy. What the hell are you doing? I think that this mode, they ported it in a very shank way to this game. Like, probably needed a little bit more polishing. I mean, it still works, so that's nice, but... Wait, didn't I get his ass? Well, theoretically I did, but the game didn't care. Means that it's only 5 seconds remaining. It won't be enough. Wait. No, it won't. Ah, damn it. Though he was still alive after the bar was empty, so it's a little bit weird. Also, I haven't tried to see if I can jumpstart. I don't think it will make a difference in an event like this, probably. I don't see why it will make a difference. Yeah, whatever. Oh, that reminds me, you know, about the music of this game. Thankfully, there was not a single song that actually blocked the video anywhere. Surprisingly, considering that Burnout 3 had like 6 songs that block the video in Russia. But this one, no? All of them are fine. Ah, come on. At least when you crash, it's not like your burnout bar doesn't become smaller. That's good. It's so hard to target these guys. Not to mention that you cannot take down, you cannot do a takedown as easily as with other cars. This will take a while. I feel like it's a mistake to make it a minute and a half here, and it makes me think that maybe at some point they are gonna be doing it at 1 minute, which which I will think it's a big mistake. But then more importantly, it will be very hard. And that one will have normally been a takedown, but I mean, that's the biggest issue here. They want you to hurry, but it's not like they give you many ways of doing it quickly. Also, he escaped there pretty much. So maybe the pursuit missions will be the other difficult ones here. Probably. Will be annoying, but I guess it has to be that way. And it's say taken out. That's even funnier. To think that that guy had any saying on taking me out. It seems that the logic here is that you also don't want to lose sight of these guys at all. They go very fast otherwise. That's the issue. If I try going too fast, the problem is that I end up overtaking him. I might need to leave this one for last after all, because it's being a little bit hard right now. It's being a problem. Also, no, I don't think you can do a champ start. Come on, dude. Well, that was not a crash. Stop inventing. Wow, and that was no damage for some reason. And that one was barely any damage. Like, it only took damage from the grind. And that's also the weird thing to understand. It's actually what's damaging, because those have been some very hard hits, and they were, well, these ones are damaging, for example. I don't see this being much stronger than the other ones I did, and regardless, it seems like they did way more damage. Oof, that was very close. Okay. At 10 seconds on the clock. That was not a crash, then what a liar. What an absolute compulsive liar you are. Alright, one more try and then I'll go for another event, but this one is... I mean, if at least it was consistent what you could do against the target, but unfortunately it isn't. The damage is very inconsistent, and not to mention the takedown. Like, the takedown is essentially impossible to do. Even though, for example, there he should have been taken down, but no, he isn't. I mean, it's the same thing that happened in Burnout 2, but the difference is that Burnout 2 didn't give you a medal depending on how quickly you took him down. You just needed to take him out before a certain distance, and that's it. Yeah, I think this one will have to be left for dead last. I even put him horizontal there. What more do you want? I don't know what more do you want aside from God his ass. As you can see, the luck factor here is insane. And even getting lucky, as you can see, if the game doesn't want you to take him out, you won't take him out. I could pick the muscle core, but now wait, what was this, a face-off? We'll use the Dominator, I guess. I mean, just to have some variety in what I pick, I guess. Yeah, sure, why not? And the rival here doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary. He does seem like he has a pretty nice painting on that car. Just that it's hard to tell from the front. You know, I'm actually looking back simply to see if this guy is even trying to get me or not. For quite some time I was just driving pretty slow and he was nowhere to be seen. I guess he's simply not very fast, I guess. Nice. Now, something that I noticed with this game is that I think that all of the tracks take place at daytime. I haven't seen a single one at nighttime, and I think I also haven't seen a single one at sunset. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think they all happen at like noon, right? None of them seem to be afternoon or the night or the dusk. Yeah, a lot of fancy words to refer to the times of the day. Some time ago I kinda confused them. For example, noon, I never related it to like the midday. Like what happens after the morning, but yeah, then you consider that afternoon is literally that, something that happens after the noon. So yeah, it makes sense that it will be that specific time, right? And then you have words like dawn and dusk, but I gotta say that I think that the word dusk is a lot more rare than the word dawn. It's like people use the word dawn a lot more, and if they want to refer to dusk, they just say another word. You know, something like ouch. You know, that's not what they say, that's what I say. The second place is a little bit close, I gotta be careful. It's the final lap. It's very close. Well, it's close, but he still needs to approach me further if he wants to overtake. And he's still back there. Still doesn't really... And I'm not even using the boost, I'm just casually driving, even taking the liberty of looking behind to see where he is. Seems that everything is fine. Yeah, that was easy. And well, you unlock that car. It's just that it surprises me that there are so many that are considered like extra cars, right? So before the Grand Prix there is only one more event, which is this one. By the way, though, before going there, I was wrong about this. This is France. Yesterday I say that it was Denmark, but ironically Denmark is like to the north of this. So actually this country, it says Alpine, I'm assuming that... Oh, that's gonna be a problem. I'm assuming it probably refers to something like Switzerland, right? Maybe. I don't know. Essentially, Denmark is supposed to be to the south of you know, the Nordic countries. Also, this is pretty loud. So hold up, I already messed up. This is a burning lap, so you're supposed to constantly use the boost. You're not supposed to, you know. So can you even go oncoming here? Yeah, here. Oof, I don't know how that wasn't a crash. But here they definitely made the engine of this car super loud. I mean, it's how, you know, Formula cars normally sound, but it's still quite loud. Uh-oh. Damn, this is very hard to control. It's pretty clear that just like the previous game, this is most likely the fastest car in the game. Wouldn't be surprised. I'm constantly using the boost, by the way. It's hard to tell because, like, the boost... Ah, that was a crash, no way. Yes, it was. It's hard to tell because the boost effect on the car is very hard to see. And since you barely even consume boost in this mode, or rather you gain back the boost so quickly, it's hard to tell that the bar is going down. So goal was a minute and a half, right? If it's a minute and a half, no, it was a minute and 40, I think. If it's a minute and 40, it's still 10 seconds, but it should be close to the end of the road. Oof, close, yeah, there it is. Nice. Well, it seems that they made the gold medals in this game a lot easier than in the previous game, because you're allowed to make mistakes. But in the previous one you were allowed to make mistakes, but only on a very small amount of them. But now the only thing to do is the Grand Prix. I don't know why the Grand Prix points to Chapin, when Chapin, I don't think it's even a track in this game. So which one could we use? Well, actually the one that I unlocked... What is the one that I unlocked? This one, Legend. But the problem is that these ones I should leave them for the other Grand Prix that forces you to use them. So instead of that, I could use this one. I mean, this one looks pretty cool. I like it red. Just go with red. Master the Disaster. Pretty funny. Right. But well, if there's anything that we learn from this Grand Prix is that they are not hard at all to beat. So we should be fine. Oh, that was a takedown. In fact, it's possible that the Grand Prix might be the easiest type of event in this game. Simply because the AI doesn't want to make it hard, you know. Oh, that wasn't a takedown, really. Was very close. Just hearing the lyrics of this song. I don't love this place, I don't like what it's become. And that's something that most people that live in big cities can say. I think that big cities all around the world have become very shitty. Including the one I was born. Well, the one I was born on. Though I feel like that city was always trash. It only got more trash as time went on, but I think that if you want to go back to when it was decent, you probably will have to go back like several decades. But yeah. So maybe he's only talking about like a metaphorical place. But no, I did hear a lot of people that live in big cities that they complain that those cities are becoming very shit. And that's mostly because with internet and all of this, a lot more people have access to the prime information that if you want job opportunities, you have to go to a big city. I mean, it was something known even before internet, but before internet you didn't know the extent of that. But here I guess if you want to make it big, you gotta go to a big city. And a lot of people want to make it big, and it's understandable. It's the only way. Making it big in a small rural town is not gonna happen. Thankfully, I am a person without ambition, so I don't care about making it big on anything. I just want to live a comfortable life, you know? Which is precisely the reason why I move out of the city I was born on. Because that shit is unbearable. If you want to have a comfortable life, you cannot live there. Nice. It's a cool backflip. The second place is still close. 2 seconds. Not that big of a deal, but it's worth being careful. You know that the other day I was remembering about what's essentially the last game in the Burnout series, which is Burnout Paradise, and that it was essentially the only Burnout game to actually feature DLC, and I never played the DLC, so I don't know if I should. Well, there are still like 2 more games before Paradise, and I'm not even counting this one, so that will be 3. That's a problem. Okay, second place apparently is still behind, so nothing to worry about. Okay, almost. Okay, at least the second place stayed close. The third and last one though, look at that. I want to wait until I see one of them. Damn, look at that, nowhere to be seen. And I don't think that they got despawned. Like, I think that they are still driving, but where are they? Well, I'm not even gonna be looking at the screen for a minute, so damn, that's crazy. It's like they are not even on the same track. At least you have the second place to constantly apply pressure to you. It makes you think that the stakes are higher. at least, with someone fighting. I find it pretty funny to see that the flags in the background are not even... They are static sprites. They are not flaming at all. So, you know, you can make a flag be a static sprite, but you could give it a couple frames of animation, but no. Those are simply stiff. Oh, get on. I mean, it makes sense. Keep in mind that this on a PSP screen, you will barely be able to tell there is a flag up there, you know? Not to mention, you shouldn't be looking at the flag, you should be looking at what's in front of you. It say Pacific International, the name of the terminal. To me it means Pacific, supposed to be about flying across the Pacific Ocean, probably. You know, when I was looking at the countries on the map to see if I was right or not about the location, I actually seen that the Pacific Ocean, I mean, I already knew it was big, but it's very big. Like, it's gigantic. It's like you could fit like at least 5 more continents in there. The Pacific Ocean is very big, like extremely big even. I didn't check what the distance was. Oh, there it says 4 seconds. It seems that ridiculous distance glitch is something that can happen randomly, because it doesn't seem like there is any particular trigger. It just happens when it feels like happening, basically. Oh, and now this guy is just here. It's as I say, like, if it wants to happen, it happens, and if it doesn't want to happen, it doesn't happen, you know. As easy as that. Oh, that might be a problem. It won't though. It's the race is over. And well, pretty much with this you're essentially guaranteed to win. Wait, so I guess maybe here, no, they see, that's where my opponents are. So this one's kind of like got lost at some point, because one of them wasn't that far, and then it turns out that they were like more than 10 seconds away. It's a little bit hard to tell how the AI in this game works. It's to work a little bit too erratically. but that's fine. Nice. Very cool. So, you know, speaking about Burnout Paradise DLC, it reminds me how back then a lot of people, myself included, I completely rejected the concept of DLC, and nowadays it's super naturalized that a game has DLC, though I still reject it. Like, I only support DLCs on games I really like. On games that I don't care that much about, I pretend the DLC doesn't even exist. Because yeah, the fact that DLC became a common practice is very fucked up. Like, I can understand post-release DLC. Like, instead of developing a brand new game, you should develop DLC for an existing game. But the games that essentially already came out and have DLC, it's absolutely crazy. It is what it is. I mean, on the right side at least, you can always play the games that did not have DLC. And a lot of them are a lot better than even their modern equivalent, even with all DLCs. I could think of a specific example instead of Tolkien shit. Well, actually, it's pretty easy. The Need for Speed games. Yeah, the Need for Speed games. The one that a friend of mine told me about is Most Wanted. Most Wanted is a classic game. And well, I didn't play it, but my friend says that it's very, very good as a game. And then they decide to release another Most Wanted that is literally just named Most Wanted like the first one, but it's basically inferior in every single way, and if I'm not mistaken, it even has the gall to include DLC. It's one of those examples that, you know, at that point, why would I play the modern rendition of that game when I can just play the classic one, right? I guess it's also one of those things that deep inside I gotta be grateful that most people don't know how to use an emulator, because if emulator use was something extremely widespread, pretty sure that a lot of them will already be having more trouble than they already do, because companies will realize, wait, nobody's playing new games, everyone is playing with emulators, right? But despite the fact that obviously emulators are more popular now than ever, they are still not something that reach like the mainstream. Like regular people that don't bother setting things up, if they see a game in a modern platform, in the store of a modern platform, they are just gonna buy it even if there is a a better older alternative that you can emulate. So we unlock the coupe class. I don't like the way the cars look too much, so I'm a little bit generic. It's whatever. Okay, so as I say before doing that, and before even doing that Grand Prix, I should do the crash events, 10 of them. So we go to, well, France. We already know that this is meant to be France. I don't know exactly what part of France. And I'll be thankful that I even know it's supposed to be France, but I have no idea how that specific place is called. Damn, 800,000, are you for real? That's a lot. 800,000. Just like that. Did I catch the guys on the other lane? I in fact did not. You're supposed to go in between the lane on the right to get the boost, so you can reach the explosion before the oncoming lane gets you. But I feel like that's too hard. And for no reason. I mean, I could try it still, but I feel like it will... I guess it wasn't that hard, okay. Nice. Well, I fell off the map. Ironically though, Ironically, I caught both lanes, but the fact that I didn't pick a single coin might not be enough. Oh, it will be enough. Damn. Can't believe that I did a crash event without my car even being there. Even more surprising that it seems like my car kept falling down till infinity and it never stopped. That was quite something. It even made a... How could it not make a headline, right? A crash just basically went through the floor. Anything reality altering like that will definitely make headlines. Man, pretty funny. I don't even know how it happened. I guess that I crashed below the oncoming truck and it made me glitch through the floor or something. I don't think that's good enough. We will see though. Oh, wait, where are the other cars? Oh, there they are. Yeah, the biggest issue is that I missed the lane on the left, right? Yeah, I think that without those you're not getting much. I mean, the crash was like the initial crash was pretty shitty after all. Gotta do better than that. This getting the boost is not a problem, but... Well, and the issue of moving here is that... I mean, unless one of those cars gets to the other lane... Oh, it will actually... One of the cars that came from here. So I did miss some of the cars that came from one of the lanes there. Well, that lane. A lot of them didn't even get into the crash, but that's enough still. Would have been more, but I don't care. I only care about the gold. If I get the gold, I'm out. I run away with the gold. That's a new car. What's supposed to be? Oh, I think it's supposed to be the mail van. So I investigated and all of these are supposed to be China. And I was wrong that Hong Kong was the island that is on the southeast. That's supposed to be Taiwan. Like, essentially all of the points here are China, all of them. Different parts of China, all of them are. Well, in fact, I even saw what the name of that little thing on like the first red dot here is, and I don't remember what the name was, but it's a small portion of China. I mean, China is gigantic. Well, if I'm not mistaken, the biggest country in the world, right? I think very easily the biggest country in the world. It doesn't seem like there are that many cars for this to be a good score. I bet it was a good score, yeah. This one was 420 for the gold. Yeah. Fitting. At least doing it, the crash events this way. Oh, this one was the silver. Should I try it again? Nah. No, because if I try it again, I'm probably gonna get stuck there for a while. And obviously, eventually, I will have to do it and I will get stuck there, but it's whatever. If I have the choice, I'd rather not. So here they are. Quite a lot of cars that you're not gonna get no matter what. Actually, I think I remember this event from Burnout 3. Wasn't this one of them that took me a while to beat? Can't remember. Unfortunately, yeah, well, it might be the same here. Maybe this whole location is cursed and every event is gonna be an absolute pain in the ass. But what even was the objective? 550,000. That's very annoying. The thing out here is that you kinda want to get the tracks on the bottom. That I think I did get them last time, but I didn't get them here. So you probably don't even want to get the ramp. But there are so many traffic cars that you're just ignoring, like this one. So it's not like you have another choice. That was too early. Oh, but I think they reached them. Yeah, they did reach them. Just I think that this is still not enough. Not to mention I didn't pick up a single coin. Not picking up a single coin. Alright, so maybe what I should do is absolutely ignore any of the events in this place, because they seem to be extremely picky for no reason. So Island Paradise can... I was gonna say it can suck a cock, but I always say that. It's a little bit repetitive. It can just stay there. Just stay there. Out of mind. Wait, no, don't take the... Actually, no, you are supposed to take this. Though you're supposed to do a better jump than that. So here you have the lanes quite close to you. And you really want to get that explosion, actually. with that explosion you can reach the guys below without needing to be down there yourself. Okay. This is supposed to be China. I don't understand why the language that they show is not Chinese. I mean, since China is so big, I'm assuming that there is a specific place that has a lot of people from another country. I don't know. I didn't even get the boost. I'm really struggling to even get the explosion in the first place. Wow, they were able to get the other ones that were already quite away from the accident. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't think this will be enough. No, not even close. I mean, the crash events are getting hard. And I don't like it. I don't... the goal here is 500,000. It's still pretty annoying. I did get the explosion there at least, but... For example, there is a bus that I completely miss. That I could not get. And the accident ends pretty quickly. There is no more traffic afterwards, so if you want the goal, you're supposed to... Well, no, I got the goal. So I was out to say that you need to get them all, but not really. Well, I'll take it. Yeah, I'm not gonna go to Island Paradise, so I might actually need to go there simply to unlock new events, but like just as a punishment, I'm leaving Island Paradise for the absolute last. Having not one but two events that are so picky with the gold deserves that punishment, without a doubt. Purple. Wait, this is the roundabout again. Those? Okay. I don't even know what other lanes. Oh, there were some other. I don't even know where that is. I mean, it's something that leads into the roundabout, but I got more than enough. I think the objective was 400,000 or something. So yeah, well, that works. I feel like I already had a crash event like this one. Maybe it was in a different roundabout. Looks like it might have been on this one. Well, I won't complain because of how easy it was. Then exit the dragon. Well, if this doesn't unlock any new events, unfortunately I will have to do the ones on Island Paradise. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Oh, I think I also remember this one in Burnout 3. I remember struggling because it was very easy to crash very early like I did there. Not a single coin picked up, but maybe it won't be necessary. It was not necessary. I don't remember what the goal was here, so I don't know if that was extremely close or not. So if it was 500,000, it was definitely close. Well, clearly, it was the closest it could have been, pretty much. We have another event on this place, on the Golden City. On the Fire Golden City, here we have a lot of events, it seems. Burnout crash events. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, you just mean the regular crash events or what? Was not expecting to do that, but that actually does work very well. That was a very... Well, I was gonna say a very big accident, but I mean, yeah, no shit. I mean that it was an accident for the accident to be that big, you know? I did not expect the initial crash to make me switch lanes. That was essentially what made it work. And it seems that here we cannot avoid going to Paradise Island after all. Man, I hate this place. Yeah, Drive Angry, actually, that's an actual perfect name. Indeed, Drive Angry. That's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna drive angry indeed. And this place again, dude. This is another place that is repeated a shit ton. How did I not get the coin, by the way? It's right there. But actually, I think it's further than it looks. So that's a lot of noise. I think that some of the one that was silver? No way. What was gold? It was a lot lower than that. It was 600. Was it? It actually was 600. Come on, dude. 600,000. If I had gotten the coin, I would have gotten it. For some reason, it decided that I shouldn't get it. Yeah, I guess I did not get it. Okay, is that bronze medal bugged? Because there is no way I missed it again. Like, I gotta assume it is bugged, because it's not normal. I don't know why the two of them are shaking like that. But at least by getting the... I think I did get the gold coin, so that made it enough to get the gold medal. Oh, and I think that was a headline, probably. Yeah, correct. Wait, but did I unlock any event? I don't think I did, right? So what am I supposed to do here? Oh, there is one here on downtown. Hate to be late. I do hate to be late, yeah. I'm normally a very punctual person. So they say it here because of the traffic jam that the crash causes. Thankfully I don't need to drive anywhere to start working. Are the benefits of working remotely. It's very nice. Wow, nice miss, dude. To the point that I don't even understand how the miss happened. It's definitely not gonna be enough. I missed a lot of traffic there. Not to mention I didn't even get the jump start, right? I did not. Yeah, the issue is that crash is gonna... Well, I did miss one thing, but I guess the other ones... I missed one of the tracks, but the other ones were caught by the buses that crashed on the other side. Okay. And that's silver. Oh, it's because it's 600,000. This one might be hard. Because I don't think I can do it that much better than that. It is 600,000. Ah, damn it. Not sure where to even do the crash to make it better. Okay, that should be good enough. That's gonna block everything. And that one should stop very early. I guess it's because of the whole debris. I don't know if that's gonna be that much better. I mean, okay, with the gold coin it should. Oh, I didn't get the gold coin. You have to be shitting me. That's so annoying, dude. You deserve to not get a retry. You don't deserve a retry after that. After that insane betrayal. But it is true that I didn't get the gold coin. I mean, not for lack of trying. Is that you get the gold coin and you're gonna miss one of the two. That's the issue. You cannot simply try to get the two and get the gold coin at the same time. That's so annoying. Fortunately there I also missed that guy. I actually feel that the crash that I got the previous time was extremely lucky. Because if you don't catch that track at the beginning, you are not... It's not gonna be enough, though. Maybe instead of trying to crash against the front track, I should crash against the rear one. Maybe a better idea. Yeah, that should work, right? And I got the gold coin as well. I don't see that as a problem. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I caught everyone here. And I picked the gold coin. Well, the gold, the bronze coin, and the explosion. This should be enough. Yeah, it is enough. This one is a little bit picky though, because unless you do all of that, you're not gonna get it. So, a little bit picky, but it's fine. As long as it doesn't get that much picky, it should be fine. Only one more to reach 40. Bayside Blitz. So after this one, we do the Muscle Grand Prix, and then we start with the Coupe category. 500,000 is the goal for this one. Completely missed the... So that might still be a good enough crash, but... I actually think I missed... Yeah, I actually missed a lot of them. All those guys going there on the top right of the screen. Oh, it still will be enough though. Oh, never mind, it's not enough. Man, I keep confusing the bronze coin with the gold coin. They look so extremely similar. They really do. It would have been enough with the gold coin. Well, I actually tried to get the gold coin, but fortunately that didn't get shit. The issue is that explosion that you get on the champ is very useless. Like, you might as well not do it. In fact, it's maybe even better to not even get the champ. Like, what do you want the champ for? May as well get in the middle of these vehicles and just push this one. The issue of pushing that one there is that I don't think you're gonna get the ones on the other side again. Yeah, that's the issue. It's pretty hard to stay on the front lane here. I still can't believe that I missed the goal for so little. Is that something that is gonna happen very often here? Maybe I could crash one of these. Yeah, those guys. So I sent that guy flying. So you know that. Well, I did get them on this side, but ironically, somehow I didn't get them on this other side. I don't know how I didn't. Yeah, I guess that's the right strat. I don't think this will be enough though. Not even close actually. Man, come on, can you stop being picky? I want to move on to the race events, and you're the only thing getting in the way. Unfortunately, something that is happening super often is the fact that regardless of how early I crash, I get sent so much to the back that I cannot even block the rear lane. Like I'm traveling so much distance that it's not even good enough for staying in this lane. But that should have been good. Though a lot of them still avoided me though. You could see that a lot of them actually, no, a lot of them. No, wait, audio, no, I don't care. Oh, the audio. Get this out of here. A lot of them escape, and I don't understand why. Like, what else do you want me to do? Want me to deploy a spike strip to stop them or what? The only thing I can do is staying in the way, unless I crash the second one here. So that's even worse, because I don't have anyone on the other side now. You know, that's way worse. If there's anyone that has to block them, it's me. I mean, I just wish that it was easier, but apparently it's super hard. We already know that the champ is pretty much worthless. It serves absolutely zero purpose. Again with this shit, dude. Well, at least I actually landed on the road here. Yeah, okay. This time it did work. I got lucky that the bounce was good enough. So this should be enough. It has to. I cannot possibly do it better than this. Yeah, it will, but not by much. Damn, so many picky events in a row, huh? Well, at least we got it. And that marks the... the number 40 gold medal, so that means that back to the tour and the Grand Prix. It's supposed to be the Legend Grand Prix. So you can only pick these two, Classic Legend and Legend Shea Muscle. Called Shea Muscle because it's supposed to be a Japanese car. I'm picking that one. Because you know that following the previous games, the cars that look like the pink one always drive like shit. So we don't want to pick that. I mean, as funny as the car looks, I rather not. That's supposed to be a legend card. Doesn't really look like one. The fact that I dodged that was something. It's pretty weird the fact that every car kinda drives differently, but the game doesn't bother explaining the differences at all. You cannot know how different they are gonna be just by looking at the selection screen. Like, you actually have to do trial and error. You gotta select them and try just to see how they are. I mean, considering that so many racing games, the stats are there and they don't represent shit because they are a lie, I don't know what I prefer. If I prefer incorrect stats or no stats at all. But it would be nice if instead it had, like, you know, correct stats. It would be pretty nice. It would be pretty nice. Now, something that I'm noticing about this game compared to Burnout 3 is that I think that they buff the boost gain in regular events. Like, for example, here I'm being to maintain this boost for a lot longer than I crashed, so I guess I cannot maintain it any longer, but like, it seemed like I could maintain it longer than in Burnout 3. Like, it probably would have already run out if it was Burnout 3. If you're empty, it still takes a while to build it, which I guess makes sense, of course. You're coming pretty fast right now. Wait, where did you go? I guess he got into a... No, he's there. I was gonna say that he got into a crash, but no. Well, now he got into a crash, I guess. No, then... So there is one thing that this car has, and that the regular steering is very stiff. It's very good though when it drifts, and I guess it makes sense. This one is supposed to be like the typical, you know, Fast and Furious drift car. You know, the typical Tokyo drift car, right? So it's understandable that the drift is good. But then the steering really leaves a lot to be desired without a doubt. Okay, the regular steering. love when it just randomly makes the AI be so far from you for no reason. Pretty funny. At least unless the very last Grand Prix, just like in Burnout 3, is super hard to beat because it has very hard opponents, I think that we are mostly just gonna be fine with every Grand Prix. Hard to take you down, huh? That's part of the reason why I really want to play Burnout Revenge again, because I want to see if my memory was wrong or not. Because my memory tells me that the takedowns were a lot easier with that game, or rather in that game. I tried pushing him to the wall, but it's so heavy that I couldn't even move him even. Oh, the pink car. Yeah. Pretty funny when the collisions are so hard that the physics shit the bed like that. Like, it really gives it an even bigger dimension to the crashes. If there is a way to give impact to them, is to have the physics freak out, you know. That's how you can tell it was a really hard crash. For some reason I didn't see that guy. Okay, I gotta wake up here because I'm having a lot of very stupid accidents right now. And not to mention that so many of them that my bar is back at the original length. Even though I did take downs at the beginning, but it's already back here, so I gotta get a grip. Because right now I wouldn't be doing it. But in fact, I don't know where the second and first place went. Maybe as easily as they can stay behind, they can also very easily just stay ahead. Because right now I am not even close. Yeah, 9 seconds behind. So it goes both ways then. That's interesting. So the moment you lose sight of them, they just get far from you. But that's very weird. That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would they go faster if they are ahead of you and slower if they are behind you? Like, it would make sense that it was, you know, either one of them, but not like, you know. The thing is that, like, actually, what game did I have in mind? F-Zero. Like, in F-Zero Climax, like the last Game Boy Advance F-Zero game, well, that and the last F-Zero game period, that game has a thing that when you're not looking at the AI, they are faster. But they are faster both behind and in front of you. Like, if you are not seeing them and they are ahead of you, they will go so fast that you will probably not reach them again. And conversely, or not conversely, but I mean, in that same vein, if they are behind you and they are too far behind you, they will also go so fast that they will most likely reach you. It's only when they are seeing you that they go to a more, you know, reasonable speed, right? But here it seems like if they are too far ahead, they go even further ahead. But if they are too far behind, they stay very far behind. So I don't see how that makes any sense. What will the AI behavior even be like? It also seems like... Okay, yeah, the boost gain is bugged here. You can see that I'm going oncoming and it's not counting for boost gain. I think that's also part of the reason why in the previous attempt I couldn't really get very close to them. It's very weird. I see you are oncoming here. Yeah, for some reason oncoming is not counted. Well, there it is counted for some reason. Unless it's actually bugged and it's in reverse. It only counts as oncoming when you're on the regular lane. I think it might be like that actually. Is it? So keep in mind that the majority of the track only has one lane. Maybe that's why it doesn't count it, because since there is no other choice, it doesn't want to give you free boost. But I mean, how else am I supposed to build a boost otherwise? Yeah, with takedowns, I guess. Is that taking down without boost is also quite hard. And even then with boost I couldn't take that guy down. What the hell? Not much I could have done there. And unfortunately those guys are gone. Just like in the previous attempt. Well, look, what I could do is still finish third place. Wouldn't be the end of the world. It is a point-based Grand Prix, of course, so you just need to make sure that in the final race I get a good amount of points, and that's it. Once like the second and first place signs disappear from the screen, I guess you can forget about seeing them again. Damn, that's so extremely weird though. Either too far behind or too far ahead is enough to not see them again for the rest of the race. I really am very curious to see how the AI of this game works, but it seems absolutely nonsensical. But I will take the third place, whatever. I'm tying with another one. Well, the next race I will have to win it, but that shouldn't be a problem. Well, I don't know if it's not gonna be a problem. I'm assuming it won't. I mean, after all, you know that I was saying how the AI was falling so far behind that the Grand Prix were gonna be free, so just because I didn't win one race doesn't mean that the other ones cannot be as free as that. Damn. Push right into the water. Unfortunately, there is an invisible wall. Doesn't let them go there. Because that was a pretty cool takedown too. So let's see if I can actually get so far away from them that they are gonna fall super far behind. See if that can be possible. Would be nice. At least that will guarantee a victory. And the Grand Prix will no longer be in danger of being lost. The second place is still on my side, so I guess until that stops being the case, he won't disappear. I'm surprised that none of these corners are ending in a crash. Okay, you know, it says that I'm 6 seconds ahead, so unless I get involved in a crash here, that guy is completely out of reach, which means that I'm essentially gonna escape. What the hell? Well, that was weird. Looked pretty funny though. Pretty funny. How loud that song was, and it just ends on a... It ends so quickly. Hey Sunshine, how is it going? Just, you know, doing more events in this game. I mean, I calculate that the length of this game is the same one as in Burnout 3, so essentially that's how much I will be playing it, I guess. Not too bad. Personally today I've been outside of the stream very busy testing the microphone. I mean, the same one that I'm using right now. I mean, OBS filters for the microphone, guys. I'm not satisfied with the way it sounded, and I don't know if I'm still gonna be satisfied now. Probably not. Knowing myself, I'm not satisfied either, but I'll check the VOD later to see how it sounds, but essentially I put a whole bunch of filters that I didn't use before to see if it could be better. And at least with the test that I did, it seems like it was better, but I'm not sure. Doesn't sound bad. Thanks, though I do know that it doesn't sound bad. It's just that I want it to sound very good. But I think that at that point, rather than putting all the filters that it says, I probably should just change the microphone. And I could. It's just that it's a very big pain in the ass. I basically disconnecting this, taking away the arm, and then, you know, storing it, and then putting another one. Yeah, it's a little bit painful, so I rather avoid it. I want to see if I can at least make this one sound good. I might need, like, if I really want to make it sound very good, I might need to just swap it. Alright, so here instead of 13 gold medals, there are 15 for the coupe class, so we have more events. Maybe there are gonna be more events the longer we go on, huh? That means that the halfway point here will be 7 instead of 6. I already have a couple of them unlocked here. Which one do I prefer? Not really a fan of any of these initial ones, though. This one reminds me of a Race Racer car, actually. I kind of want to use it. Because it does remind me a lot of it. Like the Nade or Nade, I don't know how it's pronounced. The Esperanza. It looks a lot like it. And it's probably because they are both based on the same car, if I had to take a wild guess. Well, a not so wild guess. You know, today was actually being reminiscent of Race Racer. What a nice game. How does the gameplay compare to Race Racer? Well, this one is more similar to things like Need for Speed. In fact, Burnout 1 and Burnout 2, I will say specifically Burnout 2 because of the pursuit mode. I think that they can be mostly compared to Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. Basically the first game on the GameCube of the Need for Speed series. I think that you can compare it mostly to that one. It has really nothing to do with Ridge Racer. Because in Ridge Racer, you are mostly encouraged to constantly go fast and to try to not hit your opponents, but rather constantly avoid them and even block. But in this game, you are supposed to actually hit them constantly. So yeah, this game compares more to games like Need for Speed rather than Ridge Racer. In fact, I will say that Ridge Racer, I don't think there is a single game that plays like Ridge Racer. Like, in my experience of having played a lot of racing games, I think Ridge Racer has no equal in terms of gameplay, which is precisely why it's my favorite racing game franchise, you know. No other franchise got close to what Ridge Racer offers. So yeah, it is pretty unique. But unfortunately, this one, just like most other racing games, definitely have nothing to do with Ridge Racer. They are very, very different games. Very different games, and yeah, pretty much that. You know what? I was saying that today I was thinking of Race Racer, which is the third Ridge Racer game for the PS1. I was thinking, damn, it would be so cool if I could actually develop like a spiritual successor of Race Racer. But the amount of shit I will have to take into account for the game's development is way too much. As I always say, like, the development of racing games as an indie developer is an uphill battle. And here, look, I wouldn't mind using PlayStation 1 graphics. In fact, on Steam, there are a lot of indie games on Steam that the whole art style is essentially PS1 polygons. So at most I could do that to basically lower the workload that I would have. But even taking that into account, it still feels that it will be too much, you know? Like, I don't have no idea about 3D modeling, for example. I could learn, just that, you know, at some point you kind of think to yourself, do you really want to learn something that you're probably gonna be very mediocre at? Or will you just rather hire someone, you know? Yeah, I know, about graphics, like, that's the thing though. Even if the graphics are like PS1 style, you still need to model them. And in a racing game, modeling a whole location, I think that it's not much different from like, you know, like modeling multiple maps. Like imagine the game, or rather envision the game Ocarina of Time, right? You know, the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. If you want to make a racing game like Race Racer, you essentially kind of have to model like 4 entire cities of Ocarina of Time as an equivalent for how the track is gonna get modeled. Because in Race Racer everything takes place in the same location, and the different tracks are simply different variants of the same location, right? So if you want to do something like that, you really have to model an insane amount of shit to make it look passable. Like even if they are polygonal graphics, right? Like you still need to model a lot, because it's not enough to just put some cubes here and there and call it a day. I mean, you could do that, but it's gonna look like shit regardless of how polygonal you want to make it look. Like you have to model at least something that looks like a city minimum. Well, and if you don't want to make it a city, at least something that looks like you know, something that looks like a location that is nice to look at, is what I'm trying to say. And that's a lot easier said than done. Hey, that's my problem with the indie development of a racing game, the modeling. And not to mention the modeling of the cars, you know? That's not easy to do either. Yes, they don't have to be super detailed. As I say, you can go for the polygonal look on the PS1, but you still need to model them, you know? You still need to do the little details. Oh, that's gonna be a crash. Oh, it wasn't. I actually got saved. I don't think this is gonna be the gold attempt, but I'm very close. It's only 3 more takedowns, but I can only... Well, rather, I cannot crash a single more time. That's the problem. The next crash ends the event. 2 more. But the time is also going down very quickly. And I keep missing my targets. Okay, only 1 more, but 10 seconds on the clock. That's very bad. Get this guy, please. Nice. Nice. Team, that was so close. I really was not expecting to get the gold in this attempt at all, but just like the one from the Muscle series, I got it right on the last moment. Damn. It was pretty exciting. Nice. I love happy ends like that. Pretty cool. When things go right. Oh, I like this color combination. But yeah, I don't know, maybe since I probably have a lot of free time lately, I could try learning 3D modeling, but it's as I always say, I'm not an artistic person, you know? I'm not a creative person, so I know that everyone starts from scratch and all of that, and I cannot expect that my first models are gonna be good or anything like that, but That's precisely why I cannot be asked. Because if it was only modeling, like, okay, I could attempt it, but modeling is only for the visual part. What about the engine? Yes, you can use an already existing engine, but like, what about the whole collision logic? What about the AI of the opponents, right? Like, these are all things that are not a solved issue at all. In fact, I remember there being racing game projects. I don't remember exactly the name now, but it was supposed to be a game that was heavily inspired, I think, in Daytona or something. And I remember that it did not release because they couldn't, I mean, the development was a disaster, I guess, but the thing that was not functional on the first demo that they released was the AI. Like, the AI was essentially non-functional. So that's never a solved issue, especially if you're trying to mimic the AI of Ridge Racer, which is mostly basically an AI that stays in its place, like has its own path, but if you crash it, you also make it move, but they still are able to continue. Like, that's something that sounds easy, but it's not easy. Damn, I can't believe I crashed there. Come on, dude. Did that corner every single lap. At least the second place is nowhere to be seen. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that there are so many things. And what about the music, for example, and the sound effects, like the sound effects of the engine, right? Like, there are just so many things to take into account when it comes to game development, and especially an arcade racing game that, unfortunately, well, that looks pretty cool, that cop car. But unfortunately, as an indie developer, it's too much. Ridge Racer sound effects are pretty good. I mean, they are certainly functional. And the thing is that it's hard to make something functional, like, let alone something that sounds very good, you know? Like, without talking to something like a sound engineer. Also, there is a problem with this event. You want me to take this guy down in 1 minute 15 seconds. It's a little bit too much. It's only gonna keep getting lower, that's the problem. To a point that I'm pretty sure that if you don't do a takedown, it's not even possible. Well, in fact, if you don't do a takedown here, I don't think it's possible. Remember that the last Pursuit event, I essentially got it by pure luck, like there was no skill involved. And the same thing will probably repeat here. Wouldn't be surprised. See, for it being 115 for the gold medal, means that you need to have 145 on the timer remaining. You know, when the car is close to you, just from sound, yeah, I know, stuff like that as well, you know. Like, I will assume that for that sort of stuff, there are gonna be libraries that allow you to do spatial sound a lot easier. I think the problem is the development of the sounds themselves, especially since every car sounds different. It's an uphill battle. It's an extreme uphill battle. Oh, nice. That, for some reason, that was a takedown. It's so random what counts as a takedown and what doesn't. But hey, that one did. But the other thing you could, of course, do is try to like kickstart your own indie company and actually hire a sound engineer, a 3D modeler, you know, all of that shit, and you are just the director. But yeah, you need money for that. Not to mention that I'm from a country that historically has always had low salaries, so trying to kickstart something like that with international talent is too much. Well, you could also, see, here's the thing, you could think to yourself, well, what if you hire people from your own country, so that way theoretically you shouldn't pay them international prices. But the thing is that those people that work on something like that, they are people that most likely already work from someone in another country that pays them a lot. So trying to compete with that is kind of impossible. But essentially, there is no easy path. And if you try to do everything on your own, like you are the one that is the 3D modeler, the guy that manages the sound, the programming, like that can easily take you maybe less. I mean, you know that there are people that are prodigies, right? And even if they never did something before, they can pick it up like it's nothing. But for the most part, we are not prodigies, right? Like for the most part, prodigies is not something that is worth betting on. Like most of us are not, so a game like that is simply supposed to be a clone of Rage Racer will easily take a single person 10 years to develop. Maybe that's an exaggeration, it obviously depends on how much time you dedicate to the game, but as much as I would like to see and do a Rage Racer sequel, obviously not sequel because you will need to be legally bound to Namco, I mean like a spiritual successor. Like, I don't know if I want to work on a single game for 10 years, because by the time I reach a single year, I probably already lost all my motivation, you know? So, you know, in 1 year, let alone 10, this audio setting sounds a lot more clean, I like them, I'm glad. Hey, how is it going, Wasabi? I'm really glad you like it. So yeah, basically, if you are curious to what I did, well, it's basically 4 OBS filters. Call it Racer Rage. No, the idea will be calling it something like Rat Racer. Like, should simply replace the word rage for an equivalent. So it will be either wrath or it will be, I don't know, angry. I won't sound goofy, but there are many words to replace that basically. So that will be the list of my worries, you know. The real worry is the whole development, as I mentioned. I was out to say, Wasabi, the filters are the NVIDIA noise cancelling, which is something that I never used before, and it makes sense since before the computer that I currently have, I had AMD, and AMD is trash for CPU, so you don't have any tool like that. But for NVIDIA, you can do that. So I essentially replaced the noise gate that I was previously using for the NVIDIA noise filter. So that means that any noise that is not my voice theoretically should not be picked up. So that's the first filter. The second filter is an expansor, which essentially means that when you speak quiet like I'm doing right now, you might not notice, but I'm speaking quiet right now, very quiet. Well, maybe not very, but I'm speaking quiet. So the expansor, what it does is, from a certain decibel threshold, it increases the gain of the microphone, which essentially means that it increases the volume, right? so it makes you louder, so when I speak more quiet you can hear me more easily, and especially when I'm playing a game that is so loud as this one, right? Then the third filter is a compressor. So what the compressor does is essentially the opposite of an expansor. What it does is, when the decibel reaches a certain amount, what it does is reducing the decibel. So that way, because if I only had the expansor right now, I will be picking my microphone like constantly. Like it will be so extremely loud when I raise my voice, because if I maintain a voice like this, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but the moment that I have a single moment where I raise my voice or I get closer to the mic, it's the moment that the microphone will get very loud. So what the compressor does is not letting the microphone get loud, pretty much. And well, the final filter is a limiter, but this one I don't think matters that much. What it does is preventing the microphone from peaking. So the moment you're about to reach the maximum amount of decibels, it just, you know, cuts the sound. It's probably not gonna see any use, but it's there. That's cool, you know. Hey, that's pretty much the way it is. And it seems to be working fine for the test I did. Obviously later on I'm gonna look at the VOD. Unfortunately, even with all these filters, it seems that I cannot really get rid of that weird crackling sound that happens sometimes. So at that point I just have to assume it's something that happens with the microphone. Like it's simply the microphone's fault, and until I change it, it's gonna remain there. Obviously it's not very noticeable at all, it's just that I'm very picky with this sort of stuff, so I know that it's there. But yeah, the idea is that with these filters at least it should be less noticeable, for the simple fact that I don't need to speak as loud. Like, I don't need to speak loud, I can speak at this volume that is very quiet, and you will still hear me thanks to the expansor. And that way the chances of the microphone crackling are lower. It's still there though, but way less than otherwise it will be. So yeah, I'm glad though that you find it clean, and there's still even more filters that I could apply to make it even more clean. I mean, thankfully it was like one guy's tutorial on YouTube taught me all of this. Well, as most things, pretty much. I mean, the thing is that it's what I was saying yesterday. OBS unfortunately does not have an automatic filter that simply makes your voice sound good, like Discord or other applications do. So you have to do everything manually. But for us people that are not sound engineers or have no idea about sound in general, you essentially have to investigate. Like, there is no other way. But I feel like that's one of the things that OBS does very badly, and it should incorporate at some point an automatic filter for the microphone. Essentially almost no application that uses the microphone in 2025 does not at least apply a filter. And most of them are optional, yes, or very heavily configurable, but the fact that no automatic filter is applied and you actually have to manually do it yourself is a little bit annoying. I mean, I guess that applies to OBS in general. Like, OBS is something that you kind of have to set it up yourself in most cases. Even though the initial setup shouldn't be that hard, it's still something that if you don't know much about, you know, streams, you have to investigate no matter what. Nice! Got the gold medal also right at the end. As I always say, I get worried because of the following missions. Like, yes, I'm able to get this one. It's pretty nice. But what about the other ones that will require 18, 20? Like, what about those, right? Alright, so I got to 7, which is like pretty much the halfway point. So I'm gonna switch to Crash again and do 10 of those. And then we continue with the rest of the race coupe events. I think that at this rate I should be able to clear the coupe category today. That's what I'm aiming for, at least. I don't think it should be that hard to do, but you never know. So that's certainly not where you want to go. Well, I actually got a lot of these guys with the explosion. Shame that I completely missed all of the other cars that were on the other side. Not to mention I missed the gold coin as well. So that probably will not be enough. Oh, actually it will. Nice. Pretty cool. I like it when things happen on the first try with no effort. I personally like it a lot. It makes me feel good without really being good, you know? Pretty cool. So, you know something that I was remembering about the PSP? There is one game that I played like before I even started streaming. That is the remake of Rondo of Blood, Castlevania Rondo of Blood. That's a game I could play, because it's a very well done remake. I don't think I should do it yet. But it's a very good one. I just wish the models look a little bit better. I mean, for a PSP they look very good. You cannot expect that much for what's essentially like a portable version of Rondo of Blood with 3D models, right? I can't believe that just happened. You see those 3 guys escaping like it's nothing then. I can't believe that. Because of like this little space I wasn't able to get them. Fuck. That was so annoying, because I'm pretty sure the goal is 500,000. It is 500,000. Man, why do you have to be like that? Didn't cost you anything to let me have that one. Unbelievable. But now I just completely missed. Nice. It's a portable port, correct. That is indeed what that game is. I think it's called Castlevania Ed's Chronicles, I think. It has a weird name because like you can easily confuse it with both Castlevania Dracula Ed's and the Castlevania Chronicles. Like those are 2 different games. And yeah, then you have Castlevania Ed's Chronicles that has nothing to do with either. Which in fact it's a Rondo of Blood remake, and it has nothing with Rondo of Blood in the title, you know. It's just one of those weird cases where I don't think that they are very clear with the names. To get an attempt that was like the previous one will take so long. If only I was slightly more to the side, I would have easily gotten the goal even without picking any of the other points. God damn it, dude. It's fine. I'll get it. unfortunately getting the gold coin without... Oh, actually I can get it here. And they are actually blocking the 2 lanes, so that means that, yeah, the oncoming cars are gonna get fucked. So that's very good, because not only I caught them all, but I also got both the bronze and the gold coin. And it might still not be enough, actually. Alright, you are full of shit, you know? Like, that one should have been enough. You have no excuse for that one. That one should have been enough, and yet it wasn't. So I want you to apologize, game. That one was a little bit too unfair. Yeah, I unlock a card that I cannot afford to give a shit about. Alright. Let's try that again, but I think that you misbehave a lot, Mr. Game. You should have not been so picky. But you were pretty picky. I mean, it's fucked up because at that point I have no idea what else I could have done to make it better. So I even pick up... Okay, that's bullshit. Those guys should have gotten hit. Damn, you're bullshitting me in every way. Well, I'm gonna do one more at 10, and if it doesn't work, you can promptly go suck a cock. Because you're getting way too picky. Like, extremely picky. Way too picky. Alright. Enough. Enough. You're gonna suck a cock. So yeah, eat shit. What else can I say, you know? You ask for it. You and no one else. You ask for it. So you deserve it. Right, 410,000 here. Okay, this is the typical crossroad that there's not much that you can do, right? Like in this sort of event, like you should jump into the crossroad and you provoke the crash and that's it. Like, there's nothing else to be done. Though that was still pretty close to not being enough. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where you cannot invent anything. Something that has to happen. Oh, I have to do... Well, I can do another one here, Traffic Sham. The issue is that it won't be easy to locate the silver medals. That's the problem. Like, you know that they are missing because at the end it will tell you that the gold medals are not like all of them, but the hard part is knowing where they are. So yeah, you essentially have to check place by place. I mean, for now I remember, but if there are too many of them, I obviously won't. Also, I think that this is the exact same location as one of the other ones, right? Pretty sure it is. Just that I guess the start is different. Am I completely... you do want to get the champ, but you most likely want to also get the gold coin. But yeah, you're intended to jump into the tracks. I saw Fear and Loathing listed on the song credits, and for a moment I got excited that it was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. No. No, here what you get for the music is what's essentially American music from the early 2000s. That's what you will get, nothing more, nothing less. So some cars completely escape, and I didn't pick up a single coin, so this might not be enough. It won't, not even close. The objective is 450,000, unfortunately. 450,000, or at least I think it was 450,000, right? Was it? Yes, 450,000. So this one also seems like it will be extremely picky, huh? Most likely. The problem here is that it's impossible to get the champ properly. Nice explosion. Like, champing and getting the gold medal for some reason seems impossible. But then even if you were to get the gold medal, it feels that you cannot really land on both lanes, like you're just gonna land on the back one. Guess I should try braking before the champ. Not like that. Alright, one more try and I'm out of here, otherwise to a different event. So I guess this is another location that I'm gonna blacklist. One of them was the island resort or whatever it was called, and this one is downtown. Gonna blacklist both of them. It's impossible to properly do that. I don't know how you intend me to do it. This time one of them didn't even stop. I think what they want you to do is they want you to... I guess might as well let the timer run out here. They want you to hit the buses that are at the front, but good luck doing that. You're way too picky, you're not worth my time right now. Just gonna go to a different location. Okay. So far 4 silver medals, that's very bad. But it's not like I can do much about it. They are just getting way too picky for absolutely no reason, so I don't know what you want me to do. Not much that can be done, really. Is that the right place to do that? But I couldn't actually get in front of the other lane, but that's the right strat. That is the right strat. I gotta do it better than that. Okay, that should be enough this time, yeah. So that... Actually... The other lane, for some reason, didn't get involved. How come? Guess it wasn't extended enough. Well, that might cost me the gold, actually. No, it won't. Oh, wait, what? Wasn't it 400 something? No, I think it was 550,000. Was it? I don't know, I will have to check. 550,000 then. But at least here, there were the guys at the beginning that I didn't get. I still don't know how. Maybe I need to get that explosion no matter what, probably. Yeah, if I don't get that explosion, it's not happening. hard to do because it's kind of in the middle of everything, right? I mean, these crash events are taking me way longer than they should. I don't like that. Yeah, like the explosion is like perfectly protected by all the cars that come there. Look, if I cannot get the gold here, I'm just gonna go back to the race events, because this is not worth it. Not worth to try hard crash events this much. But how do you even get to it? I guess you are supposed to come from the right side, but you cannot even go to the right side, can you? From here? Well, kinda, but not from there. I guess it's from the other side. Something like that. Oh, okay, I see it. Just that it's hard to envision. It's like to the right side of the traffic. Promise that you get very distracted by the coins. The coins get in the way too much. It's here. So I don't know if that explosion even caught the other guys. It did. Nice. It did caught them all. So, I mean, aside from picking up the coins, I cannot possibly do this better. So if this doesn't work, I don't know what will work. Okay, it did work. Nice. It was just a matter of knowing how to aim for the explosion item. That was the key. Was 100% the key. Country chaos. Though I do hope that these other crash events are at least first tries. Like, come on, dude. I will benefit greatly from some free first tries. So 410,000 for the gold in this event. No. Yeah, promise that it didn't let me go to the other lane. I guess I can go now, but there is no way that's enough. It's because there was a whole lane that I couldn't even access. I mean, it wasn't my fault. It didn't really let me. Well, not to mention that there is a whole crossroad that I also missed. It's very hard. Unfortunately, the crash breaker comes when I no longer need it. No, that didn't work either. Like, I need to somehow stay on the right lane after landing, and it's costing me quite a lot to do that. Maybe not taking the champ will help. I honestly feel that so many of these champs are simply baits. They don't take the champ. Yeah, indeed. I think that actually helped a lot. Obviously, the problem is that I didn't get the coin, so that means that that's score that is not gonna be part of the total, but yeah, and it actually Alright. I'm gonna stop with the crash events for now because they are clearly taking me way too long, and I don't care for these events this much to care this much. So yeah, you miss your opportunity, crash events. If you're gonna be that picky, I'm afraid that you can eat a dick. But yeah, at least I tried. Cannot say that I didn't try. Oh, what the hell? Yeah, this is also almost as loud as the formula car. Wait, this time it actually says best. Is that supposed to be a personal PB? Because I mean, it's not the gold medal. So I guess it is a personal PB. But the gold medal was also that, right? Yeah. I think the gold medal was a minute and 10 seconds, probably. I feel like it was. I don't know how long. Oh, it's actually pretty short. If it was 1 minute and 10, then it was super permissive. Like, extremely permissive even. Oh, nice. Like it when things are free. Compare that to the crash events that have been such a pain in the ass, and it's a day and night difference. I don't have as many options here as I expected. I'm gonna use the co-op. Why not? Yeah, that's because the Legend car, until I get to the Legend Grand Prix, well, I could use one of them and just use the other one for the actual Legend Grand Prix, you know. But I think this is the first time that I use a police car for a race. I mean, it's not like it's any different from any other regular car outside of the siren that you can disable with no problems. Well, that, and I did disable it, of course. I'm not trying to hear a siren, you know? A little bit too much. I'm fucking up the drift so much right now. Come on, get a grip. So you know that I really want to play the PS4 Wipeout game, but I cannot manage to catch it on a sale that is on the historic low. So at this point I feel like I will probably have to wait until Christmas, which is very annoying, because that's still like a month and a half away. I kinda wanted to play it soon, but I guess there is no soon, unfortunately. At least there are other games to play in the meantime. So it's harder than you realize. Like, think of that many games to play. Essentially games that occupy a whole month of time is quite a lot. Ouch. But yeah. You have to hold until there, and that's assuming that the sale even happens, because unlike Steam, it seems that platforms like PlayStation or Xbox don't really follow many patterns when it comes to sales. It's like they just do it so randomly. Now I know what stream we're getting at Christmas Day. Well, I don't know. I mean, that's assuming it goes on sale. Will be nice. Yeah, I guess we could do that, right? That could be a cool idea, though. I guess not if it goes on sale earlier, but let's say that it goes on a Christmas sale that maybe starts at, I don't know, 21 of December, and the sale is actually the lowest historic price instead of the shit that they've been trying to do on the previous two sales. If it's a historical low, maybe I could stream it for Christmas, yeah. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's a pretty cool idea. To mention, it will also make it even more special. That game, Wipeout Omega Collection, that will take a very long time to build, because it's essentially 3 games in one. Now you have Wipeout Fury, Wipeout HD, which I think it's the first beta game. Then you have the Fury expansion that is like a whole different game. And then, or maybe I'm confusing the names here. I might be confusing the names. But yeah, then there was a third one that I don't remember the name, but there were essentially 3. And well, the previous Wipeout game that I played, which was the Wipeout Pools, was very long, so I don't know exactly how Omega Collection will be, but I have the feeling that it's probably gonna be 3 times as long as that. But it's probably something that I shouldn't play all the way from beginning to end without playing something else in the middle, right? Be sure to download the game immediately if you wait before streaming it. Yeah, no problem. I'm not gonna get Drive Club. I kinda doubt that they are gonna take that game out of the store, but rather than because of the Drive Club situation, it will be because of you know, the time it takes to download, you know. Because yeah, they are not taking that game away from the store unless Studio Liverpool closed. But wait, didn't Studio Liverpool already close? Didn't they already disappear? Maybe I'm wrong, but I was sure that they already disappeared. Maybe they didn't. Hard to tell. But yeah, the game is still there in the store. If it was another Drive Club moment, I couldn't even purchase it, which will be a problem, really. Will be a big problem. Well, it's the type of game that if they for some reason have to announce that they are gonna take it out of the store, I will buy it regardless of if it's not on sale. I don't know what the chances of that are. Hard to tell. Well, the second place is nowhere to be seen, so... Another thing, another reason why I kinda want to buy the Omega collection of Wipeout is, you know that I have the PS4 in my desk right now, but it will be nice to also swap it out for the Nintendo Switch and play some Switch games. But before I do that, I wanted to make sure I already played Wipeout. But I'm probably Project Diva it's at least one more time. But until then, but I mean, I could simply just store the PS4 and take out the Switch, but that's kind of a pain in the ass to do. And if I have to do it again, by the time I buy Wipeout, it will be very annoying. I mean, once I did Wipeout, I don't think that there are many games on the PS4 that I'm interested in playing, so at that point I will store the PS4 for a while. Or at least that's the idea, right? Okay. Another pursuit. Hey. Now I'm a little bit afraid about this game with the crash events, because if I don't get all of the gold medals, it will feel like a waste to even engage with any crash event, you know? Okay, 115 here. Just like the previous one, so this has to be either a takedown or like a very lucky sequence of hits. Well, at the end of the day, you can just say that you gotta get lucky no matter what, you know? Like, luck has to be part of the event. Fucking asshole. Remember that it has to be 145 on the timer, or rather less than 145 on the timer, so I get the gold medal. Otherwise it's not gonna be gold and it's the same as nothing. But yeah, we actually did get the takedown. That's pretty nice. Getting the takedown in pursuit events is pure luck, dude. Oh, that's another downtown. Fuck, dude. But I could use one of these since they are supposed to be sturdy, I guess. Damn, that sucks. In downtown again. We already had a road rage and it was the hardest one so far. Oh, but there's only 12. Yeah, I'm surprised. Like, they got pretty generous. If they really wanted to, they could have done more than the last one. But instead they decided to be very merciful. Well, I thank you for that mercy, Mr. Game. I was out to say that am I gonna crash again, but no. Now I'm assuming this SUV is actually gonna be better at taking down than the other car simply because it's bigger, right? It should be that way. I'm probably gonna crash here though. Oh, I did. Not when I expected, but I ended up crashing at some point. I was surprised that wasn't a crash. Damn, eat shit. I think this SUV is actually very good to do takedowns. And the fact that there is only 12 instead of 14 or more definitely helps as well. What a sack of shit. At this rate, I'm gonna end up knocking myself out. All the conditions are here for me to get a gold medal. Don't throw it to the trash. That should have counted as a takedown. If this was Burnout Revenge, it would have been a takedown. There is no way that was a crash. You are full of shit. There's only 2 remaining, but I'm probably critical. But I'm still not critical damage, really. So maybe for being an SUV, it also has increased health. It could be. In which case, I'm glad. Yeah, we got the gold medal. I'm surprised that they even decided to be merciful in the first place. Like only doing 12 takedowns instead of 14 or whatever it could be. Pretty nice. I mean, not to mention, maybe I'm wrong, but wasn't the previous objective 16? I'm actually surprised. But I already say I was surprised, but that's because I'm very surprised, so I keep repeating how surprised I am. Indeed. Ouch. But there is the damage critical. Yeah, this thing lasted for quite long, all things considered. Like I crashed quite a lot of times and it's still here fighting it out, you know? Well, and I actually almost got 16. So if the objective was 16, it would have been very close. I also will be salty I didn't get it in. I think that that's supposed to be the Dominator from the supercar category. Alright. Another burning lap. And after this burning lap we gotta go to the Grand Prix, I guess. It's gotta be that way. 110 for gold. Really. Great start, mister. So if this burning lap is like the other ones, but that's too many crashes. Yeah, I don't expect it to be that picky with the gold medal. Unlike a certain type of event called Crash. Unlike that certain thing. That's fine. Remember, it's 110. I'm getting pretty close. Ah, no, not like that, dude. I'm absolutely cuck right at the end. Amazing. So this one is actually picky. This one does not allow accidents. Like for this one you have to, no matter what, not get any accidents. Well, it's the first burning lap that is like that, at least. Yeah. Not bad. And it's nice that it actually didn't happen that early in the game, because I remember that in Burnout 3, like very early in the game, you had a burning lap. That was close. A burning lap event that did not allow you to properly finish it unless you were perfect. I feel like for being the start of the game, that's a little bit too cruel, you know? Just a little bit on the cruel side of things. Okay, but this one will indeed be perfect. Well, less than a second and a half to spare, I guess. We also got the postcard that I wouldn't care less about, but that's fine. So that's gonna be the Grand Prix, actually. So on to the Grand Prix we go. All the way there. Well, and for this one, I mean, I guess I can just use the Assassin. Like, I really like the way this car looks. I just like it. It is of my liking. Let's just do it like this. And then after this one, I'm gonna do the crash events. It's just that, well, here, ideally, I would have wanted to, in this group of events, to reach 60 gold medals in crash events. But since I essentially got so little last time, I'm just gonna aim for 50, which is what I aimed for initially and I failed to reach, but maybe this time I'll be able to, or maybe no, I don't know. Yeah, the crash events so far are being a little bit problematic. Quite problematic. I mean, it's the reason why the multiplier was a good idea in the previous game, because it allowed you to not do super well or perfectly, but the multiplier was able to bail you out, you know. But in this one, the lack of multiplier makes it like that. Well, and at the beginning when I was playing like the first crash events and I noticed that there was no multiplier, I was like, oh, well, that's great. I don't have to worry about catching the multiplier. I can just worry about just the crash and that's it. But at the end of the day, with how picky the gold medals are, it's like if you had to worry about a multiplier because of how precise you have to be. So I definitely would prefer, between this and a multiplier, I would prefer the multiplier. I just hope that they are not too painful to get. So it's not like I need to catch every single gold medal, it's not necessary. Since I did it in the previous two games, I want to keep the streak going. But at this rate, with how hard those crash gold medals are, it might not actually be possible at all. So that will be a shame. But we will see. It's too early to tell, and despite that, I can just keep advancing with the crash events by getting silver and unlocking the following ones. As for what I understand, the only thing that you need to keep unlocking the events is getting bronze. Like, you don't actually have to get gold you know? That reminds me of Sonic and the Secret Rings. Can you believe that that game has gold medals and I could not get a single one in my whole playthrough? And there are some missions that I did pretty quickly, and some of them even flawlessly. And no gold medal for you. It seems that unless you have like the perfect build, you cannot do shit. But then again, why would anyone care about being like, you know, perfect in that game? Why would anyone want to care about doing builds in such a shit game? At that point, if you're so interested in doing builds, like just play an MMO. Skill issue? Is that what you have to say? Hey, how is it going, Clone Cat? Yeah, skill issue? No, I mean, I agree. The developers definitely had a skill issue when they birthed that abomination of a game. It is true. That's skill issue 100%. Oh wow, look at that. A double takedown that came from the heavens, pretty much. But yeah. Sonic and the Secret Rings, I will forever remember it as the worst Sonic game I ever played. And that's quite an interesting title, because you know that there are so many contenders for that title. Sonic is a series that is definitely not devoid of contenders for worst game. But that game was very clearly the worst. Very, very clearly the worst. Without a doubt. And that's the only reason why I'm looking forward to eventually play Sonic and the Black Knight, because I want to see if it can get even worse. I'm just curious at this point. It's just morbid curiosity. Is it possible for a Sonic game to get worse than Secret Rings? I don't know. It could. It could very well. As I mentioned before, I wouldn't want to play that game before playing Unleash. Get takedown, bitch. That was a pure accident, by the way. I mean, yeah, it was literally an accident, but I mean that I didn't mean to do that takedown, obviously. It was a miracle of the universe, as it tends to happen. Just have some miracles here and there, you know. Oh, I thought I was already in the final lap, but it appears that I was not. Some people do like that game, right? Same with Unleash. I wouldn't say so. I think that it's a universally agreed thing. Well, I was kind of talking about this the other day, but I think it's a nice opportunity to actually expand on what I was saying. I think it's universally agreed that the controls for Sonic and the Secret Rings are trash. I don't think that even people that like the game can defend the controls. But the thing is that a lot of people, and this is what I was saying the other day, when they judge a game, they don't necessarily take gameplay into full consideration. As in, you know that a lot of people kinda rate games in equal parts gameplay, equal parts story, and equal parts graphics, right? So a game can have the shittiest gameplay possible, but if the music and the graphics are nice, for a lot of people the game is at worst a 6 out of 10. I know that to me that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but for a lot of people the gameplay is not as important as it is to me. So like shitty ass gameplay but good music and good graphics and, you know, decent story, 6 out of 10. So I think that that's what more or less the consensus for what I've seen is with Sonic and the Secret Rings. Everyone agrees that the gameplay is trash, but not everyone puts the same weight on gameplay. To me, if a game has bad gameplay, like let's say that it has the worst gameplay possible, if I had to give an out of 10 rank, it wouldn't go further than 2. Like the only reason why it will even reach 2 is in the case it has good music and you know, at least a nice progression, for example, right? But to me, a game with the worst gameplay possible cannot be more than a 2 out of 10. But for a lot of people, that's not the case. So, on the other hand, Unleash, what it has is that the gameplay is not bad. Or rather, to me it's mediocre, but the thing is that the gameplay doesn't have control issues like Sonic and the Secret Rings. What it has though is that it's boost gameplay for the day levels that I think that boost gameplay fucking sucks, but at least it's functional. And then on the night levels you have a very mediocre hack and slash. Again, mediocre, but it's functional. So I think that Unleash is way more like than Sonic and the Secret Rings, but at the same time, the reason why you might think the disparity is not that big is for what I say, that some people don't weight gameplay that high like I do. But yeah, Unleash, it's at least a functional game. To me, it's a mediocre game. At least the PS2 version. I don't know how the PS3 version that I already investigated, and PS2 and PS3 are like 2 different games. So I would want to play that one and see for myself, but if I had to judge by the PS2 version was mediocre at best. But yeah, at least it worked properly. The story wasn't anything out of the ordinary. The music was whatever. I mean, I remember the music mostly because I remember, you know, the game takes place across the whole world. And I remember when you got into an Arabian-looking place, that the music was pretty funny. It's like what someone would think of a parody of an Arabian-sounding music. But it's the actual music of the game, you know? But I think that for Unleash, a lot of people also agree with the same thing as Secret Rings. They are both games that have good music and good graphics. That's something that it's undeniable. So yeah. A better question, I guess, is why do so many people like Sonic Colors that much? That's my real question. Because with Sonic Generations I can understand there is a nostalgia factor, and a lot of people are like, look, I clap because I remember that reference, right? And oh, remember when I went through this place in like that Sonic game, like shit like that, right? So with Generations I understand why it's so universally liked, but with Colors I cannot understand what people see in that game. I don't think it's a bad game whatsoever, but it's just mediocre. Same shit with all of the Sonic games from that era. Oh, and also you mentioned Sonic Forces. The thing about Sonic Forces is that it was released in the time that everyone has access to internet and everyone can see how everyone rips that game apart. And it deserves being ripped apart, but if you ask me, Sonic Forces, I don't know. I don't think it deserves being more ripped apart than... Well, no, it does deserve to be ripped apart, without a doubt. But let me tell you this. If Sonic Forces released in the same year that Sonic Unleashed released, I can tell you a lot of people will like it just like they like Unleashed. The reason why I don't say that it's as mediocre as Unleashed is because I think that Unleashed at least tries to do something different, with the night levels being hack and slash. So for originality, I think that it deserves more respect than Forces. The thing about Forces is that it's simply a generic Sonic game with very, very shitty story and all of the promises that, well, they weren't really promises, but the trailers made it sound, or rather made it look, like you were gonna be attacked by all of these past villains, right? Like by Chaos, by Metal Sonic, by all of these guys that were past villains that you defeated, and they were all gonna gang up on you. Except that Chaos gets defeated on a single cutscene in a second, and not even a good cutscene. It's like a throwaway cutscene and he gets defeated and he doesn't appear anymore. Well, Metal Sonic, at least it's a boss fight. Then I think you have Savok. I don't even remember what Savok did. I don't. And then the fact that Infinite, which was the main villain and a big selling point of the game, ended up being a crybaby bitch. It's kind of like, you know, Broly from Dragon Ball Z, the original Broly from the movie. Broly simply, the backstory is that he's a crybaby, right? But at least Broly is cool. Like, Broly looks cool, he obliterates the protagonist, and the movie is very good to watch, even if the story itself is not that interesting. Infinite is not even that. Like, Infinite is a bitch both as a fighter and as a backstory. I gotta admit he has a pretty cool design, but ultimately that design is wasted on that game, and it's a shame. Okay, so I'm not gonna do the sport category now. So my plan is this. I want to try again to reach 50 gold medals in Crash events. But if I get it, that's great. If I don't get it, whatever. But regardless of the outcome, I'm gonna close it out with the Legends GP. So that's the plan. We will see how many gold medals we can get though. Judging by the previous Crash events, something tells me maybe not many. But hey, we gotta try, you know? It's gotta be attempted. The moral of the story is that the very big majority of Sonic games released after Sonic Heroes has been mediocre. The only thing that changes is how much of a fanboy you are. And trust me, there are a lot of Sonic fanboys out there. Like a very big amount of Sonic fanboys. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the Sonic community, you know how a lot of people say that the Sonic community is the worst, one of the worst communities on the internet and whatnot, right? But the Sonic community, what it has is that it's super passionate about Sonic. Yes, in their own way. Passionate as, yes, that they do they do like 3 tributes a day to Sonic, right? We don't ask what kind of tribute, but yes, regardless of how they do it, they are extremely passionate about Sonic, for better or for worse, so I think they at the very least deserve that. There are so many communities that don't even have even close to that level of interest with their own franchises, so, you know. Okay, so if you don't get the medals and if you don't get those guys at the end, you're not gonna get the gold. So I think the idea here is that you're supposed to skip the champ. Because as long as you get into the ramp, you lose control and you cannot go far. The problem is that it's hard, because if you go too much to the right, what instead is gonna happen is that you're gonna crash against the traffic, so... I'm not sure how to do this. You actually have to be precise here. Something like that. Ah, but move to the right, you sack of shit, no. The problem is that no, that's not gonna work. You're supposed to crash them from like the side. But yeah, you gotta be careful how you get there, I guess. Anyways, yeah. Sonic. Sonic, am I right? Well, regardless of anything, I don't care how much negatively Sonic might be viewed or how shitty the games are gonna be, I will still remain a Sonic fan, you know? Wait. Okay, at least the other guys are crashing too. But yeah, I'm a Sonic fan forever. Doesn't matter how bad it gets, doesn't matter the amount of degenerates that surround me. Will this be enough? No. No, you have to be shitting me. For 1,000 it wasn't enough. Man, you are really making me not want to do the crash events. Really wanting me to just do the race events and forget that crash exists. And I'm willing to do it. You are tempting me. You are tempting me, and you know that I am very capable of doing it. You know that I will easily swallow my pride and not give a shit about them. You gotta be careful about what you do. I'm gonna wait for the explosion, I guess. Is there even anyone I can wait for? Probably not. That should be enough. Yes. Okay. But barely. Like, this seems like it's not an exception. This seems to be the rule. That all of the crash events from now on are gonna be this precise to get the gold medal, so... Not sure how much longer I would want to try hard. Yeah, it's a very interesting IP, Sonic, without a doubt. Probably one of the most unique long-running IPs, because obviously when it comes to unique IPs, you have a lot of obscure shit that is very interesting, but I think that when it comes to long-running, as in more than 30-year-old IPs, Sonic is extremely interesting as an IP, and without a doubt. And yeah, definitely one of the most interesting ones. I don't have any doubts about that. It's extremely interesting. For better or for worse, you know, because we already saw that shit like Sonic and the secret rings is a dumpster fire that you can call interesting because it is interesting, but unfortunately comes to the player's detriment, you know. But it was gold medal. I thought it was more. It was 400,000 to get gold. I don't know, but I got it, which is what matters. The thing is that the IP being interesting is for sure. I just wish that it was better used. I just wish the games were better. But I guess the fact that it's kind of a dumpster fire also gives it the charm it has, right? Because it allows the fans to come up with potentially better ideas. It depends on what ideas we're talking about. Oh, I remember this event from Burnout 3 actually. Like this exact same event was in Burnout 3. And I think I remember this one costing me a little bit to do. Because it was hard to get both lanes, but I guess here I didn't have too much trouble. And the gold medal is 300,000. And that is more than enough. Well, not more than enough. It was barely enough. It was only thanks to that reward there. That is, I think, the explosion, right? Barely enough. I don't remember much about Legends, but I do remember not liking the crash events and mostly ignoring it and liking 2. Yeah, because that's in 2, they are well done. And they are well done, maybe not necessarily in the way they were, although I don't mind the way they were with the combo multiplier, but it's the fact that there is the right amount of them. Like for what I remember, there were only 18 or maybe even less than that. That's the right amount. Problem is that both this game and Burnout 3 have like 100 crash events, so it gets old pretty fast, and even more so if they are so picky with the score like in this one. So that's the issue. Like the mechanics are not necessarily the problem, but rather the way they insist so much in having so many of them, you know? No, I didn't get the other lane, not to mention I didn't even stop the train. Yeah, no, in this one there are literally 100. Like you can say where it says crash gold medals, it says like 45 out of 100. And in Burnout 3 I didn't count, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was 100 as well. Also, did you play this game, Clonka? Actually, which Burnout games did you play? Because I know that you tell me that you play Burnout Revenge at a friend's house, and then you told me that you played... that almost worked, fuck. Well, some of them did stop, but a very big amount of them did not. Oh, what the hell? Not to mention I barely got the explosion here, so... I don't think this is not gonna be enough. No, but the gold medal is 450,000, so it's not that far, I guess. Right? Let me check again. Is it? 450,000, yeah. I played 2 Legends on the DS and Paradise. Oh, I didn't know that this game was in the DS. Yeah, I think I remember actually reading it. I just didn't remember now. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I obviously remember, like I got it, I interrupted myself because of the crash, but yeah, I remember that you told me that you played Burnout Revenge and in a friend's house, and like afterwards you got Burnout 2 for the GameCube, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think you mentioned. And that you got initially disappointed because it was nothing like Burnout Revenge, but that later on you learn to appreciate it because it is quite unique with the whole Burnout mechanic. I mean, I wish these games had the Burnout mechanic. Yeah, that one time you play Revenge. Alright, so maybe I don't have to do the champ here, or rather, I think I should do this champ instead. I guess that was my mistake. Problem is that that's still too far. Although that worked perfectly, actually. That works so well. Okay, this might be enough. I got lucky that one of the vehicles that lost control actually hit the train. And that's way more than enough. That was like... It's been a while since I did a crash event that I surpassed the gold medal by so much. That's like 100,000 more than the gold objective. Yeah, for the GameCube, okay. Yeah. So essentially, as I say, the crash events in this game take a very long portion of the game. This game was fun for what it is. Didn't play it as much as 2, but still enjoyed it. Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned Paradise. Paradise was a pretty good game. It was like one of the first ones to be like open world like that. I mean, at the time it was mostly a novel concept. Just that nowadays every single thing is like an open world, you know. You see open world even in the even in soup, you know. Open world this, open world that. Well, we were talking about Sonic earlier. I think a million. Holy shit! Oh, I was not expecting that. That's the first time I reach a million in this game. Damn, I guess there were a lot of traffic. There was a lot of traffic. I'm assuming that's enough for a headline, unless I already got the headline there, I'm assuming. Damn, I keep interrupting myself. See, that's something that I have. Well, obviously I play games like the streams I do are playing games. So every time that I have a thought, I usually have to suspend that thought for something that happens on the game. But yeah, I was out to say that we were talking about Sonic earlier, and a good example of a game that adds open world for no reason is Sonic Frontiers. I mean, I didn't hear bad things about Sonic Frontiers, or at least not that many bad things about it. But for what I heard, the open world is kind of unnecessary. Like, if the game was an open world, it will... I don't know if it will be better, but it will be at least decent. That they did the open world because everyone and their mothers do the open world right now. I mean, games like Elden Ring as well. It seems that when... I mean, mostly Japanese developers, when Zelda Breath of the Wild came out, it's like everyone wanted to have a Breath of the Wild. Everyone and their moms. If you didn't have a Breath of the Wild, it's like you were out of the loop as a developer. It was quite crazy, and it's still crazy. Like, there are still open world games coming out. In fact, isn't the Resident Evil game that is gonna release gonna be open world as well? And well, since I'm playing a racing game, Assetto Corsa Evo is also open world. So yeah, like, it really seems that Breath of the Wild mind broke a lot of people. Breath of the Wild definitely came here to mind break developers and be like, I want to have a Breath of the Wild of my own. I think that for the most part, well, regardless of how good of a game Breath of the Wild can be, I think the main reason behind the success is that people just wanted to play a Zelda game, you know. And Breath of the Wild was something... Well, I don't know how much time it passed since the last time they had a Zelda game before Breath of the Wild, but it was kind of like a big revival of the series, so I think that's the main reason why it was so popular. But everyone saw well, as I say, at least the Japanese developers saw the open world aspect, and suddenly everyone wanted to be that. And so here I'm failing very badly to get this, unfortunately. The idea is most likely getting the explosion in the center, but I don't think that's that easy to do, because you have all this traffic getting in the way, and even if you get the explosion, I don't think it's gonna reach anyone, right? I think that it's in the middle of nowhere, kinda. Unless you do something like this. I mean, sure, that... but I see, like right there, I missed that guy. So for some reason, one of them crashed. But no, that won't be enough. Last try. If it doesn't work, I'll go to another crash event. Because I don't really know what the gimmick is here. That's a very early crash. But yeah, unfortunately here... Oh, that was very lucky actually. Extremely lucky. Shame that I couldn't pick up any coin, but I should be grateful that I got so lucky. The question is if it will be enough for the goal. The goal is 430,000. So I don't know if I'll be able to reach it. I did reach it. Nice. Nice. I blame Ubisoft more than Zelda. Yeah, but that's the thing. Ubisoft is the one, you know, with shit like Far Cry and company that kinda made it popular around here, and it's most likely the reason why Burnout Paradise exists. But yeah, when it comes to the Japanese side, you can bet 100% that it was because of Zelda. Well, in fact, usually when it comes to video games, the Japanese follow the Japanese, you know? Like, if there's something that a gaijin did, a lot of them are not interested. In fact, there is a very concrete example of that, even though it's not a game in itself, but it's a technology, which is rollback connections in online games. The best example being fighting games. Up until a point where it was essentially impossible to defend, Japanese fighting games did not feature rollback netcode in fighting games. They had delay-based netcode that made the games unplayable, pretty much, unless you live next to the person that you're playing against. I got 50 gold, so I'm switching to the Legend Grand Prix. Well, I'm here picking the pickup. Picking the pickup. The thing is that rollback netcode was something that Japanese fighting games did not have until Street Fighter V released with a rollback netcode. The only problem is that Street Fighter V rollback netcode was trash. So that made a lot of developers also think twice, because they were like, well, it doesn't seem to be worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it when the implementation is trash. But since the fighting game developers basically follow anything that Street Fighter does anyways, they were like, okay, we have to invest in it. And they did, and well, games like Guilty Gear Strive, for example, the only reason why they are popular is because of rollback netcode. If it wasn't for rollback netcode, that game would have faded into obscurity, just like most of Arc System were fighting games, pretty much. I do think Zelda did it because of Ubisoft. They took so much from Far Cry and Assassin's Creed. Yeah, it's a possibility. It is pretty possible. But the thing is that Zelda... I think that historically Zelda as a franchise always tried to be very innovative in every game, with, you know, to different degrees. I mean, in fact, I can mention essentially every Zelda game that I played so far, and even the ones I haven't played. The first Zelda game, the one on the NES, that one was revolutionary. A game like that existing on the NES is crazy. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a game that is based on another one that I forgot the name of, but the fact that it exists as a game like that and it's so polished and it's something that you can still play nowadays, and outside of the obscure stuff, it's still a game that holds up to today's standards gameplay wise. Like nowadays, a game like NES Zelda can easily be an indie game that someone releases, you know? So that is one, like that's an innovation by itself for being so early in video game history. Then you have Zelda 2 that as much of, you know, as bad as that game is in a lot of places, it tries to combine the overworld of Dragon Quest with a side-scroll perspective, a platforming side-scroll perspective, with also a lot of things like, you know, talking to NPCs and following clues, which at the time, alongside with Castlevania 2, it was also pretty innovative. Obviously, now we can say that both of those games are trash, but the thing is that it was innovative as trash as they were, right? Even Castlevania 2. Then Link to the Past kinda grabbed the formula that the first Zelda had and took it to the extreme of what the Super Nintendo allowed, and it pretty much spawned its own genre, right? And it's a game that is beloved by many, and it's also essentially the blueprint of most 2D Zelda games afterwards. Well, Link's Awakening, I guess I don't have much to say about that one because it kinda is linked to the past, but for the Game Boy, so like whatever, I guess. It's just that it's impressive, I guess, that you can fit a game like that into a Game Boy. That's pretty cool. And then comes Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time, a lot of people consider it the best game in existence. And even though I don't agree, I think that it does make sense because it's also a game that pretty much spawned a whole bunch of other games. Like it did, like that pseudo open world, like that whole, you know, 3D like world where you go from city to city, like you encounter stuff in the way, you talk to a lot of NPCs, you have side quests, like the whole structure with the dungeon and bosses, that's something from the first Zelda game, but I mean that the dungeons themselves adapting to 3D, like a lot of things that even if they might not have been literally the first time that they were shown in a game, it was the first time that it comes as a full package. Like a game like that is so cohesive and so early on, because I'm pretty sure Ocarina of Time is from 1996, right, or around there. So that's crazy for a game back then to be. What the hell was that? Was that a crash cancel or was pretty weird? Whatever. The point is that yeah, Ocarina of Time is certainly that. Well, Majora's Mask, as much as I absolutely hate that game, the whole thing about the time limit and having to essentially go through a loop of, you know, repeated doom, that's also pretty innovative. And I don't know if at the time it was that widespread, because nowadays you have like 100 games that do the whole dead loop that you have to figure out what to do to stop it, right? But back then I guess it was still pretty innovative, so there's that. Not to mention the way the whole day-night system is in real time. And then you have games like, well, I guess the Oracle games for the Game Boy Color. I don't know if at that point it was innovative to have multiple games be part of the same story, since you already had the Pokemon games doing that before, but I guess that it was still ambitious, like essentially to
develop two different games at the same time, release at the same time, and the fact that they are supposed to share the same story, right? That's very innovative too. And then you have a game like I don't know about Twilight Princess, but I do know Skyward Sword. Was that the name of the game? That game uses the Wiimote to, you know, to wield the sword, and that's, I think that at the time that wasn't that widespread either. Like after that, a lot of games started using the Wiimote as a sword. Well, Sonic and the Black Knight being one of them. But the thing is that I'm pretty sure that Skyward Sword, or again, whatever the name of that game is, was very early on. Like it was one of the first ones to do that. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is that Zelda always tried to be innovative in one way or another. Maybe not every single title in the series, but the majority of titles definitely stand out for being innovative. Even if that innovation ends up being bad, they still try to do something out of the ordinary. And in the case of Link to the Past, it was essentially, well, certainly not even close to being the first open world game, but it was the first time you see something like that in a series like Zelda. Because you know that usually game series tend to be like that. Like you have a formula that tends to be followed. You don't tend to step out of the formula. But with Zelda, they constantly step out of the formula. Even though the overall formula with the 8 dungeons is still there, they definitely switch up the basics of it. I find Majora's Mask annoying as fuck. Yeah, no, in fact, Majora's Mask is guilty for making me drop the series. Basically, that's what I have to say. Like, my hatred for that game burned so hot that it made me just decide I'm not playing a Zelda game again. Though, I don't think I should blame the game in itself. The fact that I don't really enjoy the previous Zelda game either is what contributes to that as well. You can say that Majora's Mask was the drop that, well, whatever that saying is in English, I don't remember how it's in English, but yeah, essentially the drop that made the cup, you know, overboard, whatever you say. I know how to say that in Spanish, but not in English. The boiling point. I think that's a better expression. It was essentially the boiling point. I was already quite hot-headed with the previous Zelda games not being a fully enjoyable experience, including Ocarina of Time. As much as I like a lot of stuff that game does, I cannot say I enjoy the full experience. I was already quite hot-headed there, and by the time Majora's Mask came, and what to me was essentially like an inferior version of Ocarina of Time, and something that felt like a ROM hack, because not only recycle half of what Ocarina of Time has, but it also makes everything worse. So to me it felt like a high budget ROM hack, and I feel like that's an insult to ROM hacks as well. But I hated Majora's Mask so much. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some parts that I like progressing, right? Like, it's not that I hated the whole thing, but it does so many things badly that to me it was like, dude, why am I even playing this?
you know? Yeah, exactly. That's the phrase I meant to say. Like the drop that overflow the cup. It's just that in English that saying doesn't exist like that. It exists differently. But that's what I meant to say, that Majora's Mask was that. I really think it's a shame. But you know why I think it's a shame? Because that's the thing. Well, not like I don't enjoy that sort of adventure with the typical hero, you know, wielding a sword and killing monsters in a non-turn-based fashion. Because that's the one thing I like about Legend of Zelda. Like, aesthetically it's very similar to a lot of turn-based RPGs, but instead of being turn-based, it's real-time action, right? Real-time action is its own genre, but I'm trying to say that it's something that requires reactions and, you know, you being constantly paying attention to what happens. It's an action RPG, essentially. So I do enjoy that, and you can say that, you know, I kind of wanted to see more because of that, but I'm not gonna lie to you. The reason why I was curious to keep going with the Zelda series, the exclusive reason for that is Princess Ruto. For real. Like, I'm not joking. I felt like Princess Ruto character was so captivating that I was very curious to see if another character like that was gonna appear. And for what I understand, there is a character called Midna that appears later, I don't know in what game, but that I think it's supposed to be a similar character archetype. I was kind of looking forward to that, but unfortunately Majora's Mask kind of took a gigantic shit on that. So it is what it is. Look, doesn't mean that I'll never play it no matter what, but I just don't see the reason to, because even if there are those little things that I appreciate, I still think that it's pretty hard for me to fully enjoy a Zelda game from beginning to end. Like, unfortunately, I don't think I'm able to, and that's simply because I'm not the biggest fan of the way the games work. The fact that they are non-linear games that require to look for clues to know how to progress, that's something that will never appeal to me. Never. Like, call me brain dead and you probably will be right, but I like linear games too. My type of games are fully linear. So yeah, it is what it is. But as I say, at least I'm glad I got to experience Ocarina of Time, you know? Like, that's something that I feel like it's a milestone of video games. So the fact that I was able to play that is nice. Anyways, well, I think I'm gonna leave this for today, by the way. Fully completed both the Muscle and the Coupe class. And well, I have half of the crash events. Would be nice to have more, but I guess we will see that later. So tomorrow I calculate that it's gonna be the sports class. Well, obviously, I mean, it has to be the sport class, but it's gonna be the whole sport class and probably a little bit of the super class. And the crash events, I don't know. I don't have too much confidence on being able to get all of the gold medals from the crash events, but look, I am gonna try. Like, if I don't get all of the gold medals, it won't be for the lack of trying. That you drop it before the peak that are Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Well, but keep in mind that it's not right before it. Like, you have the two Oracle games before those two. So it wasn't right before it. I mean, yes, it was almost there, but not quite. And as you say, I still think that as good as those games that you mentioned are, just like Ocarina of Time, I still think that I probably wouldn't fully enjoy it, so yeah, it's whatever, it happens. But yeah, look, I'm not gonna say that I won't play them ever in my life. It could still happen, I just heavily doubt it. But yeah, it's fine. What I will play though, and in the next stream, will be this, continuing with the sports class and probably the super class as well. But yeah, thanks everyone a lot for watching, and I'll be seeing you on the next stream with more Burnout Legends. So have a good one and take care.